Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and today is my week wrap up in books, tarot, and art. I actually have books and tarot to talk about today. I've been in a bit of a slump lately, but it seems like an excellent season to get out of that because I can go outside less. It was snow. Oh, look, it's snowing again. It's snowing. For real snowing. So I've got out the Tarot of Persephone's Garden, which is very seasonally appropriate. It's got a lot of spring and fall cards, so I find it very good for changing the seasons, which seems like, you know, what you would expect from something called Tarot of Persephone's Garden. And it's just, I don't know, it feels right for this time of year, although now that it's snowing, I may need to get out a couple different things. So I've been using that a bit. And then the other decks I've been using are, I have my own plant deck, and this was my card for the week, the Rowan, which is the Queen of Wands. I renamed them and I was able to think what's what. That's, oh, it's a little shadowy in my apartment. In the winter the light gets more flatter on this side from my south-facing window, so that's happening. Also, it's going to start getting dark by 4 p.m. soon, which I can't say I'm really looking forward to, because I do like to get out for, you know, a walk or whatever, but the days of being able to do that are getting to be fewer. So yeah, I have been trying to do that as much as possible and hang out with a few plants in a couple areas that are special to me. But they're all dying back and going dormant and whatnot. So that is the time of year that we're in. So that's the second deck I've been using a lot. And then the third deck I've been using is Where Olga Speaks. And it's, trying to get the right angle so you can see it. It's so beautiful. I love this deck. It's got a very good, like, fall season ancestors sort of energy to it, and it's really, really beautifully done. I love it. So yeah, that's what I've been using this week for the most part. A couple of things. I did pull out the Boo Tarot, but it's in the other room, and I've only used it once so far. It's not quite Halloween yet. Anyway, that's my week in tarot, which is fun. I just have them all in a box, like so, on my desk here. So I don't have the boxes with me at the moment. And then books, I listened to an audiobook, which I haven't done a lot of lately, called Wild Magic by Daniel Forrest. It's Celtic traditions. And it's mostly to do with the main Irish elements of earth, sky, and sea, with the additional one of fire for the fire festivals and whatnot. And then plants that are important, and connecting with all of those things. And I found it really kind of beautiful. It's some Celtic books you never really know until you read it if it's like Celtic or English ideas of what Celtic is. And I'm not so interested in the latter. But sometimes that's what's more in the market. But this one I thought was quite good. I don't know what her background is, but everything seemed reasonable and to align with things that I've read before by Irish authors. So it didn't seem nothing seemed to jump out at me as, you know, strange or appropriative or anything like that. And it was, for the most part, it was really beautiful. There were a couple parts listening to the audiobook that were kind of annoying to listen to, only because it was like lists of plants and their attributes. So I kind of fast forwarded that bit or put it on a higher speed because I kind of have my own relationships with plants, and some of them are Celtic and some of them are not, seeing as I live in Alberta. And it's quite different here. So we have some of the same plants, but definitely not all of them. But anyway, it was a beautiful book, and I'd definitely consider reading more of her. I think she has other books out, so I'd consider that for sure. And then I read, I'm not entirely sure how to say her name, Leah Sigurdardóttir. As an Icelandic author. And I read, so this is a series of books. I think the 5th one comes out in a month or 2, which I will have to get. But I read the 4th one first when I was in Iceland, because I got it at the bookstore there. And usually in mystery series, it doesn't matter too much in a lot of series if you read them slightly out of order. But in this one, it kind of does, because there's a different mystery in each book, but then there's one big overarching mystery in all of them, which is kind of cool. But I also wish I'd known that beforehand. That it had, you know, said on the back, read the first one first. So I kind of screwed myself up on that one. But so this is the first one, which I liked, but I already kind of knew some of the things because I'd read the 4th one. The 2nd one was really good. I really liked this mystery. I'm on the 3rd one now. So I'm nearly caught up to the 4th one. And I'm really enjoying it. So the 1st one was a bit of a letdown but I think that's only because I'd read the 4th one. I think if I'd read it first, it would have been fun. But then once I got into the 2nd one, I thought, yeah, okay, I like this series. It's good. So I'll keep reading it. And then I started reading and stopped for now. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doughty. Because it got too gross. There was a scene, so possible slight trigger warning here if you don't like gross things, where she talks about there had been some renovations or something with the flooring and the crematorium, and something went wrong, and a woman was being cremated, and all of the fat that had melted started spilling out all over the place and got all over everything, and it's so disgusting. So that was a bit much for me. So I'm about halfway through. I've put a pin in it for now, but I'm not going to get rid of the book because I might get back to it later. We'll see. I'm undecided about that one, but I'm going to let it sit for a while and see how I feel about it in a few months or whatever. Because I follow her on Instagram, and I do like her account. And then I've got a couple of art books, as usual the last few weeks. This is Joan Mitchell. I didn't realize when I got it from the library that it was actually a biography of her, which I'm not sure I'm gonna read, but it does have some pictures of her paintings in the middle. And the ones that are more, there's some that are more landscapey. Here's one of no birds and sunflowers and whatnot. I really kind of like these. It's hard to get without the glare, sorry. But they're just a lot of fun to look at. And so I might have to see if they've got another book of just her like paintings, like that focuses more on her paintings and less on her, because it's not a small book, and I don't think I'm actually gonna read it, but we'll see. And then I got this book from the library as well, Still Life, by Amber Creswell-Bell. It's a collection of Australian contemporary painters who do still lifes, and I've tabbed a bunch that I'm gonna look up because I just really like, and I've heard of exactly 0 of these painters. Okay, so I don't know a lot about, I really like this one, contemporary painters, because, you know, you hear about the famous, you know, Impressionists and whatever, and Van Gogh and Picasso, but you don't, I don't know, hear so much about a lot of the contemporary ones. I like this typewriter. Like you can see the brush strokes in it. I don't tend to like things that are super realistic. There are some in here that are pretty realistic as well, but I tend to prefer something like this myself. But yeah, I don't hear about contemporary painters a lot, and certainly in Canada I don't hear a lot about Australian contemporary painters, so it's pretty fun to read. I think that's just delightful. I enjoy it. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but one of the things I do appreciate about this book actually is, even though I've tabbed the things that are kind of my thing, she actually has curated a really broad collection of paintings with a ton of different styles, and I find that really kind of cool. Like, you know, you might not like these, but there might be other things in here that you do like. So yeah, oh, here's some nasturtiums. Love a nasturtium. So I've been enjoying this book. I feel like it might be a series or either it's a series or she's done another book or two about other types of Australian painters, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, there's a lot of artists in here, and it's a very cool book. It's quite chunky, so that is a lot of fun. Really enjoying that one. And then I've got some odds and ends. I made a bunch of color swatches. I won't show you all of them, but this sort of thing. Here's the purple one. I started with green because I need to get some more yellows, so that'll be a probably next week thing. I'll go down to that art. I have to find a new art store because the one near me went out of business. But I was doing a lot of these green color swatching, trying to figure out the different shades of green that I could make, and in that process decided I need a couple more yellows because there are just a couple of shades for landscapes that I can't get with these ones. I made some messy sunflowers, which was fun. So, you know, just sort of mucking about with nonsense. Stuff and nonsense. I did some stuff in my, I finished up this sketchbook is what I did. That was fun. Let me find my tab here. I did some of these pre-prepared backgrounds where you sort of just paint watercolor or whatever. And then I went out with my little pencil case full of toys and played around a bit. This is all scribbly and I don't like most of it, but it was trying to get the sunset colors noted down. This was in a spot that's very special to me, so I sat there for probably about an hour. Here's a better sunset colors one. And did these. This was the other one I did in that same spot. You kind of can't tell because the paper's all wobbly. And then I did some mucking about with brush pens, just making different types of lines and things. And then these are terrible scratchy figure drawings and one person from a commercial, but I was watching the hockey game yesterday, a couple of hockey games. Oh, and I've got some lighting notes. This was a lighting design that I'd done in 2008 that I forgot was in the sketchbook. Also goalies and, well, hockey players generally get into weird positions. Like, that's just weird. It's weird. It's fun to draw though. Here's another lighting design drawing from almost 20 years ago. I have not done a lighting design, I think, since then. And I just did a whole bunch of these. So that finished off that sketchbook. And then in this big one that I keep at home, I did a bunch of, I got sunflowers from the grocery store. So I did, this was just with Pentel, and this was just not trying to be anything in particular. I was just trying to spend more time observing the sunflowers. And then I did these with the nicer oil pastels and just sort of, I can't remember which way it was up. It doesn't really matter. This was because I was running out of, getting slightly low on the yellows and the greens. I was trying to use up other colors. And then I did a few of these backgrounds with the acrylic greens that I've been mixing to try and abstract this one area down by the river a bit more. So I did a bunch of those. Mucked about with some soft pastels, decided I didn't like them and put them in a free little library. They're just too powdery for me. The chalky feeling doesn't work for me, and then the powder gets everywhere. Oh yeah, and then I was playing with the beaver. It started out as a line drawing, which I quite liked, and then I kept puttering, and I was just kind of, playing about one day. And then I've just got a couple prepared backgrounds for a still life I'm going to attempt, and we'll see how hideous that turns out to be. I don't know. I've only done these like sunflowers and dandelions before, and they are kind of funny looking. I like them, but they're kind of funny looking. Sunflowers are kind of funny looking, especially when they start drying out and end up, the petals kind of curl in and get all funny shapes and falling off. And yeah, anyway. So that was my week. It was pretty good. Got out for a lot of walks, did a lot of this stuff outdoors, either by the river, or there's this spot I went to is technically it's in a dog park, but there's a little out of the way corner that you can sit in, and I did get visited by a few very good dogs while I was doodling, so that was fun. And I will try and do that some more this week, but I make no guarantees, because if it's snowing, no, I want to freeze my fingers off. I'll just come home and do something here, because I'm a wimp, even though I'm Canadian. And you'd think I'd be used to winters by now. I've lived through 40 of them, but no. I do come well supplied with hot chocolate and cozy blankets, though, so I'll manage. Anyway, that was my week. I hope you had an alright week, despite the world continuing to be on fire. Yeah, that's all for me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.